Hello everyone, I'm Braun Mithra. Happy belated New Year's! We got a new Kickstarter update for January, the last day of the year, or last day of the month we got it. So this was surprising. I kind of didn't expect anything. They didn't make it like super clear last time, and the other one was like so vague on information that I didn't really expect something. But this is a great update. So let's get into this update here. So we have here if you can see, it is actually the many exciting things have happened since I last stopped by to make an update. We got some digital proofs. Holding the Crimson Crocodile AI deck in our hands, it made us weep with joy. And the 3D print team put together our semi-final prototype of the hard plastic showdown board. The direction of making it tile-based as opposed to the large slab was a bit nerve-wracking, but the final result is stunning. The tactile feel is excellent, and I've already got a small laundry list of adjustments before we move this beast of 352 tiles into tooling. So this thing is not in tooling yet, so it's almost impossible to expect to see this thing Q1 like was originally slated. That's almost never going to happen. But if we look here, the unique board tiles will be able to create and bring us promos to Gen Con. Oh, the unique board tiles we will be able to create and bring us promos to Gen Con. Small thanks for those who come and see us in person, and yes, we are planning on returning to the trade show this year. So here's the semi-final print of the board. As you can see, this time we actually showed the entire board, whereas the last update I was saying it didn't look like it was all done or didn't even look finished, and that was because it wasn't finished. So that was why. So I mean, this looks so much better. I don't understand. I mean, it's going to be a lot to put this together every single time, but whatever. Interesting stuff. I hope it's not like one big small little thing, like this under thing where they all slot into. I hope this all isn't one just big piece. I hope it's like 3 pieces, maybe 4 pieces, but I hope it's not just one big thing, because that will like warp very easily or like crack in shipping if it's one big piece. I hope it's like, ideally, it would be nice to have it be 3 pieces where you could put them all in, and then it would have like a lid a clear cover that went over it and locked onto the bottom base, and then it would hold them all in place. And then you just snap off that clear lid, lift it off, and then put this on the table. And then that way you don't have to pick up all 382 pieces and re-put them back together every single time you go to play, especially for people who were painting this stuff. Like, it'd be great to have it in like a case. We'll see what happens. That would just be ideal. I hope it's something like that, but here you go. Here's all the 382 pieces you're going to need to put together like a puzzle. Hopefully, like these things, it just doesn't really matter, right? Like you could just put all these around. I know it will look weird because the faces won't exactly line up and orientate correctly because they're just all over the place and they're not meant to like be super modular where it doesn't matter how you put them all back in and each face will line up to its sides, but super annoying. Hopefully it's really easy to put down. So here's some more photos. Interesting photo here. You can see there is 1, 2, 3, 4 survivors, very close within range of the croc. Then you got this little scout over here. So the scout is on the board. Very interesting, very neat. So here's where you see those 4 survivors very close. 4 survivors, the ones that were super close, and the 1 scout not pictured in frame here. But this card is super cool. All right, we're going to try to read this card here. So this critical wound effect is nuts. This is a croc card, and it shows quite a bit of design flexibility, like the limits of the design that have like pushed the boundaries of design here. So for this, it's the critical wound. What is it? I can't exactly. Starting this or. I don't know, shrieking the something flesh folds, you are wash, adorn. I don't know. Something with Crimson Cross, something. So there's flavor text there, which is hard to read, but you gain +1 evasion token for the critical wound. And then at the start of your next act, you may spend 1 survival to concentrate on how dense maybe, or how stretch. No, on how, don't know, something. Yeah, on how, I don't know, something. Either way, so if you successfully if successful, discard the token and gain +1 permanent evasion. So concentrating is already a thing. Concentrate is where like you spend your whole action, the whole next round without getting like disturbed or whatever. So you trigger this thing, you spend 1 survival, and then as long as you don't do anything until the start of your turn, like you don't get hurt or whatever it is, then you'll gain +1 permanent evasion from this, which is nuts. So like this is really cool critical wound effect. Then we have Gambler's Chest proofs here. So these are just proofs. I mean, I guess they're finalized and they've been printed, and now they're just confirming to make sure this is what they want everything. So this is great. Stuff is being printed and being received. So we have the philosophy books here. Lots of stuff you can actually see here from the like actual way of how this is going to work. We can't derive too much from this, but you can see this is like the second rank of these philosophies, where you trust fear, survivalism. Survivors and their tools are feeble. No one and nothing can protect you, so you give into fear. It electrifies or something. Yeah, electrifies your exhausted body, I think is what it says. It's hard to read, but gain 1 Lumi and roll 1d10. So there's Lumi, is what the new thing that Ark survivors have. And then if you look here for the number 1, this is the most interesting one. The other ones are cool too, but the number 1 here is the most interesting. Your knees tremble unless they are moving. Gain +1 movement and +1 systemic pressure. Now, I don't know what systemic pressure is. I think it's tied to survival. So it could be harder for you to gain survival. Maybe it's harder for you to spend survival. I think it's related to survival, this systemic pressure. So we saw in the Black Friday update that there are tokens for this systemic pressure, but very neat. So there's another thing that we have Lumi and systemic pressure. I forget what the other one was. I think it was like cognition, or I forget what the third one was that was teased. But and then here you can just see instead of doing like the things now, they've just color coded the dice, which is cool. So these are just blue dice, and then when you have blue dice here, it changes. You know, the old books, it would have the whole highlighted dice, and then would go over to another box that's a highlighted box in a different color. Seems here they just highlight the dice, which is so much better. And then it depends on how much CC you have here. And you add knowledge cards. You can see there the K here. So this gain knowledge meat shield, which I think would add to your deck. Maybe it's added to your deck, or you would already have it in your deck. But some death sense, rolling dive, so many of these things. Gain fighting art tumble. This one looks like it is right here. Maybe that's something else, but there are. So when you gain a fighting art, you would gain something else. You trigger something else when you get a fighting art in Gambler's Chest, because they can't use them. So I don't know what these are, but there are fighting arts in Gambler's Chest. So this is really cool. This is again collective cognition. Our philosophy books. This is all the collective cognition system. So here we go. Collective cognition reward cards. Right here, pleasing plating, which gain the stone plate innovation, which I'm assuming is the cooking innovations. This lantern year, your survivors are presented with plated meals for the very first time. Departing survivors gain +1 survival. Such a cool effect. The food innovations and everything. This is so amazing. So now we have an actual look at knowledge cards. You can see these cards are definitely bigger than fighting arts. Hopefully we get the actual size of these things soon. I think we've been told the actual size, but these are definitely bigger, and you can see full art. This is so cool. So this is Fear rank 1. knowledge starting. So this is a starting one. And then you have, I think there's going to be higher ranks of each philosophy. And this just has theory. And then now we see the new rule for this theory. An inkling of an idea that currently has no effect, right? So this card just does nothing. It's just you just have it. What you want to do is, this is like the story of blood. These evolving fighting arts. We've seen some of these before. I think currently we only have the story of blood as the only actual example. But so you get the observation. When you suffer damage, gain +1 thing. And then when you fill these all in, you advance to fear 2. And then fear 2 here is, again, knowledge starting. So you see fear 2. When a monster targets you, you may spend 1 survival to suffer the flee brain trauma. Limit once per showdown. Very interesting. So those are the knowledge cards. Super cool. Now we have Crimson Crocodile cards. You can see here that this is a little bit different. This used to go over from the top and used to draw from the bottom. Now it says when the monster is wounded, its blood hardens into translucent scabs that separate as it moves. During showdown setup, shuffle all coagulated hit locations and place this card on top. Right? When instructed to draw a coagulated hit location, draw from the bottom of the stack, face down. So you don't always draw from the bottom now. You just draw from the bottom of this. When instructed to draw a coagulated hit, it might be that whenever you wound at all the crocodile, you're drawing a coagulated hit location, but it does look like there are multiple hit locations, as you can see here. So there's the AI deck, the strange resource deck, or no, the resource deck, hunt event deck, and then this looks like the weird hit location ones, and then this is the hit location deck. So these look like maybe there's going to be weak spots or where the scab, who knows what this means. But so here's fighting arts. This is a neat thing, the fighting arts here. We can't really read any of them, but these are fighting arts that do exist in Gambler's Chest. Now, I don't see Luck here. I don't see Luck's fighting art, but we know Luck used to have a fighting art. Don't know if he still does. I don't see the artwork here from Luck. But anyway, so there's still new fighting arts. You can see they all have the banners. Looks like 2 for Smogsinger, 2 for Croc, 1 for Atnus, it looks like. I can't see what the other ones are, but Crimson Croc gear. We actually see some new gear. The Crimson Pearls. On arrival, gain 3 bleeding tokens. This works really well with I can't remember the name of it now. The new thing that replaces frail or toned. Honed. Honed is the thing. Honed. That you gain a bleed, or you spend a bleeding token to repair the frail weapon or whatever, to repair the weapon. Either way, so bleeding tokens have advantages. Bleeding tokens are also really powerful to just get with some other current builds in the game. So this could be really powerful to put on some of those very exotic, like super powerful builds. But anyway, your Fist of Tooth attacks gain +1 strength for each of your bleeding tokens. So, very interesting. Now we have disorder cards here. You can see this is Pacifist. This is a Smogsinger disorder. You refuse to fight. You cannot activate a weapon to attack. Ignore this if you are frenzied. So, this whole ignore this if you are frenzied is nice, because there's been a lot of things that we've been learning by getting the clarifications from Taste, where there's just some things that just ignore, like Doomed, or ignore other effects that we don't know they actually should be ignoring it, but they do ignore it. It's not written that they ignore it. But so if this becomes a standard to actually, clarify this, it'd be great. Hunt events. Here we go. This is amazing. Hunt events. Ark Survivor hunt events. This is super cool. Now, the other thing you can see here is if you look underneath it where it says Ark and then Hunt event, that shows that put everything into the box and use it all at once, regardless of whether or not you're playing with that expansion, might be going away. These Ark Hunt events have Ark Hunt events, so you would need to be using Ark, right? I think this was talked about with like the pillar system or whatever. So these are probably the pillars that go first. before it. So it's probably the pillar that it's associated with, which would be the Ark Survivors, and then there's the Hunt event. So if you're using that pillar or whatever, you're using that system, then you include these. So the whole put everything in the box, use it, probably going away. You'll see this further on too. Now this is roll 1d10 on the Ark Survivor Hunt event table. So we're getting a Scout event table and a Hunt event table. So really neat. That's cool. It's not 100 new events, but it is at least more events. So that's cool. You can see here they're basic hunt events, so they'll just go with the regular basic hunt events and get shuffled in. So then now you have the Crimson Crockery, which is the settlement location for the Crimson Croc. This is super interesting. We can see here, it's hard to see it, but I can read it a little bit better. So you have the Crimson things, they're all here. You have one takes Crimson Bone, one takes Pale Flesh, Crimson Fin, and then Pale Flesh and Pale Flesh. So 3 of them take Pale Flesh, which is, I think, equivalent to Lion. And then one takes Crimson Bone and Crimson Fin, which, is more like Gormish, which can kind of suck because then you're restricted to just needing to draw this. And when it's early game, when you're only drawing 4 of the resources and you're needing to draw like a one of, hopefully the Fin and the Bone aren't the one ofs. So hopefully not. Next, let's see what else we have here. So we have Bloodglass Dagger, Crockbone Hammer. Now, that's a hammer, but I think it's likely just a club because there are current hammers in the game that are clubs. So that's probably a club. Bloodglass Longsword, I think we've already seen is a grand weapon. No, it's just a sword. There's the Blood Compass Lantern. So the Blood Compass Lantern is for sure here from the Crimson Croc. Then we got like Crocodile Eyes, which is, I don't know what that is, but it uses the Eye of the Immortal, or just Eye of Immortal. So that's neat. Could be another like hit location manipulation kind of thing. Crimson Bow, that's clearly a bow. Darts, finger darts. We have Bloodglass Cleaver. I think that's a new weapon type. I'm pretty convinced that cleavers are going to be a new weapon type. Because we saw with the Invitation Butcher's Mask, when it says, when attacking with cleavers, you gain something. So the Butcher's Cleaver was not made a cleaver, but this Bloodglass Cleaver hopefully is a new cleaver. It's just cleaver. It has the cleaver type. That'd be awesome. And then that Imitation Butcher's Mask will just say, when attacking with cleavers, and then hopefully Gambler's Chest will include something that makes Butcher's Cleaver a cleaver. So that'll be great. If it doesn't do that, then you also have other things where it says like attacking with a sword, and then you have Twilight Sword, which is a sword, but it's not a sword, but it's called a sword. It will get really confusing if they just say when you attack with a cleaver and they just expect you to know that it's Bloodglass Cleaver or Butcher's Cleaver, even though they're not weapon type. That won't be great. Bloodglass Guitar, Bloodglass Saw, which I think will probably be the axe, but maybe Saw is a new weapon type as well. Then we got the pearls, we already saw that. And then this one down here is super interesting. This is the scythe. So the scythe is a scythe. Hopefully it will still have scythe as the weapon type for itself. Then this uses, 2 perfect bone and 2 perfect hide. So it uses perfect resources. I hope they make an announcement that Gambler's Chest is going to need 1.6. I hope they make that announcement for everybody who hasn't been keeping up, because there's players who were like, because of how long it's taken, they've been kind of checked out of Kingdom Death and waiting for Gambler's Chest to come. I hope they tell everybody that you're going to need 1.6, because this clearly does use perfect bones and perfect hides. So if 1.6 is a requirement, they better say that soon. All right, next we have the Bone Eaters. Bone Eaters have changed. I don't want to show them here on the video, so I'll just talk about them. It looks like things have changed for them. Not a whole bunch. It doesn't look like a whole bunch has changed, but the layout and stuff has changed. So here we have first Crimson Croc Day, and you can see here that says Crimson Crocodile, settlement event, meaning that this is only being used if you're using Crimson Crocodile. So again, the whole use everything, just throw it all in the box, probably not going to be like that anymore, which is great for the node system. It's great for modularity. Great. I think this was also a little bit reworded because now it says drawn by a soft glow, they approach a distant form. So now it's a little like ambiguous. It could be like a lantern horde. It could be a tyrant, right? It's more ambiguous. You could use this as a prologue for other campaigns. It used to say they approach like the Dreamkeeper or something. So I'm glad this is more ambiguous. You can use it in other campaigns without feeling awkward and weird. Great for modularity. These are just, okay, the cognition cards. So there's, again, the hunt event cards. Okay. These are Secret Fighting Arts. This says God of Cheaters. You can see that says Secret Fighting Art, Gambler, meaning that you need to be using the Gambler to be able to use that Secret Fighting Art. Even though currently there's nothing that allows you to get Secret Fighting Arts at random. Maybe there would be, but Secret Fighting Arts are always gated to some event or some way of getting it. But it's just good to know now that this is limited, restricted to Gambler. And that is the end of the update. So overall, this was a great little surprise for this way to start off the new year. Not really starting off the new year, but a nice end to the first month of the new year. I kind of just expected if we did get something, it would be just a little showdown board update saying, oh, last time we didn't show everything. Now we can show you everything. Happy New Year. That's what I expected. I didn't expect all of this. Now, sure, this is a great update, right? This is all very cool stuff. This shows a lot of cool stuff in here, right? So much cool stuff. However, didn't really get any like hard dates on like, is this stuff even printing? No mention of Chinese New Year or anything. So who knows what's going on? They're getting finalized proofs. Hopefully we're still on track, but who knows? No sense of when this would be finalized or anything. Nothing was mentioned. Hopefully next month we'll finally be able to hear. Because first they have to say, okay, it's finalized. Now it is really in printing. And now we've approved all the proofs, the production proofs. We've approved them. Now we're going to do mass printing. So that apparently that hasn't happened yet. Maybe it has on some things. Who knows? They didn't give us any kind of timeline. Not that the timelines are great, as I was saying with the board. They said it would be delivered in Q1. They just now are fine. They haven't even finalized it yet. They haven't even tooled it, so that's not happening. So it's not like their dates are perfect, but still, it's nice to have them. So this was great. This was a great surprise. This was great. This is really, really good update. I thoroughly enjoyed this. So looking forward to next month. Hopefully, the last couple have really been good, except for the Showdown board, right? The one prior to Black Friday was a miss because they said, well, we're not going to do it. We're just going to push it to Black Friday. But then Black Friday was amazing. And then last month was meh. And now this one's really good for a non-Herald like update. This one is really good for just this is above the curve for normal just updates. Normally it's, hey, we're not doing an update this month. Next month. See ya. So this is great. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next month.